I am thinking right now? You don't? Today is your lucky day. Today, exclusively for the podcast live, the Battlefield, I have the worldwide renowned expert who is a mentalist by trade. By default, he knows how to read the mind. So let me ask my guest what I'm thinking right now. Xavier, thank you for coming to this podcast show live, the Battlefield. It's the last show of the season. And who better to bring some hope, enjoyment, and some inspiration to the people facing the Christmas and the next year, new resolution. So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
Look, I don't want you to read my mind. I can't find my tinfoil hat. You know what I mean? I try to build
it won't help you.
That's a good one, actually. I like it. So, okay, Xavier. I like to start from the end. You're the mentalist for 20 plus years, right? But you've never been expecting that you're going to be that in your life, right? You never expect you're going to be a mentalist, right? What did you want to become as a kid?
Well, actually, when I was very young, I wanted to become an inventor of scientific ideas.
Okay.
You know, I liked creating things.
Yes.
And I fell very quickly into magic when I was about 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
And over the years of enjoying magic, I started learning more and more and performing it to friends and family. And at some point, I met a magician when I was in my 20s, early 20s.
Yes, yes.
And he took me under his wing and taught me how to make magic shows into a business. And through that experience, it went from learning magic to studying psychology and NLP and hypnosis, everything that was interesting. And from there, I transitioned the magic into mentalism. It's a form of magic that uses the mind, but not the physical objects. And so, yeah, that's a long journey.
Look, it is, because for me, in all honesty, there's a show called Mentalist. Has nothing to do with what you're doing. It's all these science fiction things. I mean, this is a real life.
There was actually a lot of real mentalism in the show.
Oh, really?
But he was acting the part of a mentalist.
Yeah,
and there was actually a very famous mentalist who helped on set of the show to make it more realistic. And there was a lot of things that he did which a mentalist could do. But of course, because it was film, there was a little bit of leeway. Some things were just illusion.
Just illusion.
Yes.
So the first question pops on my mind, because I was so excited when you been introduced to me by the mutual friend of ours. And as I said, thank you, Peter, for that one. I started Googling straight away, I was very interested in this because my background is in human intelligence, which means interaction between humans to humans, extracting information or planting information in a nutshell. So that was all my life in military and diplomatic intelligence. But mentalist is totally different level, right?
It's a different level.
This is the Cold War, third eye thing, literally. Maybe CIA, Black Ops now run inside.
Yeah,
it's like,
be careful what you say.
Xavier?
He's here.
Yes. Turn the phone off. You start magic at UCLA. You had a mentor at age 20.
Yes.
How difficult is for any magician to share the secrets? I'm very curious about this one.
This is a question people love to ask. Yeah. Why do you share your secrets? So how do magicians learn if you're not allowed to share yours? So over the years, what I realized was when I was young, I thought magicians cannot share their secret. Everybody thinks this. This is what we know. We're told magicians never reveal their secrets. Turns out magicians will reveal their secrets to people that are willing to put the work in to present them. If you learn the secret to a magic effect, the magic is lost. Okay. So the reason we don't share our secrets with the public is not because we cannot. It's because we don't want to take away the magic from the audience. It's magic only until you see the illusion. Once you pull away the curtain, you can't close it again. And so as best as we can, we learn until it's perfect so that you don't see the curtain. You don't even see what's behind. We want to make sure that it's always a magic for you. And if people in the audience are figuring it out or guessing what's happening, that's totally fine. I'm like that. I like to work things out, but I'll do my best to keep it from you.
I need to share something with you, right? Recently, I went in Sydney Opera House, and I forgot what's the call that show. It's called something Love something, right? And the end of the show was a lady. She's a late 50s, right? and she has a. What are you laughing? Really? No.
I don't know. No. I just
so like she does the magic trick. Like, so, look, I was in shock. So it's like a type of burlesque, and thing. It's all entertainment. It's a lot of erotics, a lot of sexual acts.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of, mind blowing things. So anyway, she was all dressed, and what she did, she was having that red handkerchief, and she was with every act, she will take it, from bra, from wherever, and then she comes naked, in G-strings, right? And she takes the G-strings and she pulls out that red
handkerchief.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it was like, what the?
Yeah.
Like,
she can do it naked. Yeah.
And I was like, come on, seriously, I need to do slow motion. And the guy behind me says to me, I tried to record, but they told me we can't. So that's a magic, That's a magic.
That's an amazing way to present a very classic trick. You put a handkerchief in your hand and it disappears. Yeah. And I think she took it a step further. I can do it without clothes.
Naked, and she just like boom, come out. And you're like,
So even if you could see how she did it, you were distracted anyway.
Yeah, because that's correct. That was something for me. But you see, when I was doing research about you, Xavier, and now he's saying to me, you got mentor. How did you enhance your capabilities to be performer? Because being performer, it's a first step. You do magic.
Sure.
To be a magician, you need to learn how to present. You need to learn the craft.
Yes.
And then you're facing us. We know everything, audience.
Yes.
We know everything, we're judging and everything else. So my question is like, when was your first act? So you start mentorship when you're 20 years old. And then...
Well, actually, my first act was when I was about 15. It was for a friend's sister's birthday party.
Okay.
And that was great. I just threw everything I could do onto the table and performed it, So the process for me was practice in my room, try the trick on my brother, and then practice again and come back. And I would always do the trick with him, and it was always failing because it was the first performance. And poor guy was quite annoyed at me for some time because I was always disrupting his workflow. Yeah. But then I would perform it on my mum, who was happy to just give me the love and like, wow, that was amazing. Maybe even if it wasn't amazing, she would tell me. And then move towards my dad, who was a very hard nut to crack. And if I could get him to say something like, do it again, then I knew that I was ready for the audience.
Okay.
And so coming after the age of 20, when I started to work with a mentor, I started creating business cards and approaching bars and restaurants and asking them for $100 for a couple of hours to walk around the tables and perform shows. And so my first performance were in restaurants and bars doing this until those business cards generated some traction, and then people were calling me for their private events. So look, one of the first memories I had that drove me to get really good, I went to two girls sitting at a table, and I started doing a trick that I created, and I expected them to enjoy it, but the response they gave me was, "Are you finished yet?" And I thought, "Are you finished yet?" That doesn't mean they like it. Actually, that means they really don't like it.
Okay, please continue, because I have a question on this one.
Yeah, and so from there, actually, I was motivated to get better. I didn't want my audience to say, "Are you finished yet?" I wanted them to say, "Do that again. Can you do one more?" And I was very lucky that I had the motivation for that. I could have ended there. It was very, very hard work approaching strangers, making them like me very quickly. And I had to learn how to interrupt people in their private lunch or dinner or private situation, and not only get them to like me quickly, but keep their attention and give them something valuable. This was a long process.
I must say, I don't say this very lightly, because people on my podcast show, they really come with a very, very strong stories in life. But one thing I admire of all these elements in life, it's a courage. I say this because, I was in a war, and I know that all these alpha males were not there. It's always average Joe who display the most courage. So I forgot that aspect of your life, that you need to start a business, print the cards, and asking for auditions, for the audience and everything else. Congratulate you, Tell me something. how difficult for you was, for all our listeners now and viewers, you know what I mean? Your entertainment industry, it looks easy when you're on the top, you know what I mean? When you have all this crew and all these people around you.
Yep.
But what was your beginning, you know what I mean? I know we're humble, but any doubts?
Yeah, constantly. You know, when you work for somebody, you do your job, you go home. You have nothing to think about.
I concur.
Yeah. When you work for yourself, you not only have to motivate yourself, you have to accept your situation wherever it is, because there's no one to pull you out of that situation. And that means if I don't have work, I have to go and find the work. I have to also trust my own abilities. You know, I think of it like this. Think of a singer who sings covers, other people's songs. They can get up on stage and sing other people's songs all day. I have a friend who does this. He's amazing at it. But when I'm in the audience with him watching, I'll always be the first to shout out, play an original. Play an original. And he will, because I'm there, but he won't go for that first. Because what I think is happening is, if he plays the original and people don't like it, that's personal. If he plays a cover of someone else's band, it's someone else's song. And so everything I do is original. It's not a cover. You know, if people don't like it, they don't like me. And so one of the things that was really hard for me was, at about the age of 23, 24, I wasn't sure if people liked me for me. I actually was really curious. Do people only like me because I'm exciting, I'm entertaining, I do magic? And I was actually get a lot of self-doubt, a lot of insecurities. They only like me for my tricks. They don't like Xavier. They like the magic guy. So I stopped doing magic in public. I didn't do magic for friends, for family. I didn't do magic in pubs or parties. I only did it for money, for private events. And I made sure I was getting paid when I did it, so that when I was in public, I made sure people actually liked who I was. I worked on my personality. I worked on who I was presenting to the world before the magic.
You're literally one-stop shop. Like literally, I'll sell this metaphorically, right? Because what people don't understand, what you've gone through, it's like, it's not just learning skills, how to perform the magic. And that's like, you need to crack your brother, your father.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the difficult things, because that's the people who always going to tell us, don't do it, don't embarrass yourself.
Yes.
It's not good enough. But they need to launch your own business. They need to learn the skills, how to articulate message that you want to perform without any credibility, any authority. You're not David Copperfield, you know what I mean? Rock up, you know what I mean? With Claudia Schiffer, say, hey, hello, Dolce Gabbana.
It's coming.
It's coming, right?
Yeah.
This is not a movie, it's a real life. And you're right, and this is what I'm admiring. You're saying that, and I will concur on this one, this is not 9-to-5 job.
No.
People go in the office, with all due respect, are working those type of roles.
Yes, we need them.
But you and I need to fight for the money, literally fight for the money.
Yeah.
So
sometimes the fight is harder than others.
Yeah.
Sometimes the fight is easy, sometimes the fight is difficult.
So for all listeners, you face it onslaught of the audience. You can't control audience, right?
Well, now I can.
Now you can. No, we come to this level. I love the smile. I told you guys, you're gonna be entertained today with the knowledge and experience you can't buy. There's no books for all these gurus. And I say to you guys, Podcast Life to Butterfield stands for exposing false gurus through human intelligence. But today you're gonna learn something which starts from ground zero, from the man who was there, still is there, he shared his knowledge. Now, how did you deal with the fear? Go there and do your act.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, I presume, doesn't matter how many times you were there on stage. I think that you still have the...
Still now.
Yeah. Still not with me also.
No, not with you. So actually at the very beginning, I would say to people that are listening, if they're afraid of the stage, this is quite a normal thing to be afraid of the stage. Yeah. So I had stage fright for maybe 10 or 15 years of the time that I had been performing. And one of the things that I used to do is I used to go into the bathroom and prepare myself before a performance. And even in early days when I was working only in the restaurants or in the pubs, I'd go into the bathroom and I'd look straight into the mirror and I'd say,
what did you say?
You are amazing. Your audience loves you. You love your audience. Go out there and have some fun with your friends. And this was a little mantra that I used to give myself. It was, convinced myself that the audience was there on my side. Now, it didn't take away the nerves, and the nerves still don't go away. Actually, what I've realized is if I'm nervous, it means I actually care about what's happening next. When I'm about to go on stage and I don't have nerves, that's actually more scary. I wonder why I don't have nerves. You know, do I not care about this performance? If I really care about it, the nerves are there. I changed the word nervous for excitement, and all of a sudden now I'm standing in front of the stage, on the side of the stage getting ready, and I'm excited to go on, not nervous to go on. And so there's a big difference between nerves and excitement, and the difference is actually the perspective, the perception of what it is. It's not that I'm not nervous anymore, it's that I call it something completely different now.
Well, my question was about fees, and this is the trick. I always say to people, we cannot learn. We need to prepare ourselves. Nobody can. Doesn't matter how many books I read and how many videos I was watching and how many people told me what to do in different capacity. You know, how to face the fees. I was always sweating, and you know, I was being told, why are you afraid you've been a war? It's like, man, when you ask for the business, it's different.
Mm-hmm.
In a war, I have my breakfast, you know what I mean? We throw a couple of grenades and try to survive. That's it, you know what I mean?
Right.
But in a business, it's a different battlefield.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing.
Of course.
Mirror, guys, mirror is a thing, because I was being told that only person who never going to lie to it's a person in the mirror.
Yes.
So thank you.
You can try to lie to yourself, and I've done that many times, but you know what? At the end of the day, no matter how many words you say to yourself, your unconscious mind is listening and it knows the truth.
Yeah.
You know, fake it till you make it works, but at some point you have to also be honest. This is where I'm at right now. This is where I want to be. And I can't pretend I'm somewhere I'm not. I can work towards it. I can say I'm working towards it, but I can't say I'm there already, because my brain doesn't believe that, you know. Rather, if I'm going to use an affirmation, I won't say I'm rich if I'm not. I will say I'm increasing my income daily. Yeah. I can believe that because it can happen like that. But I can't say something that isn't. I can say something that I would like to see. If I'm not confident now, I can't just look in the mirror and say, I'm confident. But I can say to the mirror, you love your audience, because I did love my audience and they love me. Well, let's see if I bring that first, if I bring this idea that I love them and they're there for me. Without them, I can't exist. And without me, they can't be entertained. Well, then that's a form of love. There's a mutual need.
I said at the beginning, this is a special episode. I didn't have nothing planned this month to record. But when I got the email from our friend, I just felt something. I don't know what, you know, I mean, intuition or, you know, whatever, the God sign, whatever you want to call, you know, spoke to me. I always believe that people need somebody who's going to give them the hope.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that this Christmas it's you. I'm seeing a lot of people falling apart. They try to reinvent themselves. They try to find a lot of things, answers on how to perform better, how to increase the salary. And I mentioned this, you're the one-stop shop. And when I say that one, you still working on yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You're very humble. You know your beginnings. Most of the people don't even talk about their beginnings because they're embarrassed. And, you know, I'm seeing a lot of people actually lying that they're doing things that they're not doing. But I have a question for you. You don't need to answer,
Sure.
but if you want it.
Let's go.
In your career, have you ever been homeless, without money, smashed by life?
Yeah, multiple times.
Okay.
Multiple times.
Would you mind to share?
Yeah.
How did you overcome this? I'm really curious now, because what the people audience doesn't know, we're going to come to the part where the Santa Claus leaves the country.
Right.
Yeah, but how does Xavier overcome this? Share with our audience.
So if I go back to the last, say, 5 years, I've been living in Helsinki in Finland. And when I arrived there, I didn't have the language, I didn't have the work visa yet, and I didn't have the ability to leave the country before the visa was confirmed.
Yeah.
So when I arrived there with my last girlfriend, and she had all of those things. So the contrast was very great. She had things that made it easier for her, and I had very little that made it easy for me. And I'd arrived there with the money I saved from living in New Zealand. So Kiwi dollar doesn't work very well in Europe at all. Yeah, I think I
even though it doesn't work well. I know.
I think I went there with a big chunk of money, and I think I quartered it. Less than half was what I had left. Yeah. And what I did in that situation, the only thing I could do was start making phone calls. I made a list of every event company and every agency. Actually, I walked door to door to every bar in Helsinki, and everyone rejected me. They couldn't see the value that I was bringing, and maybe I couldn't present it. Maybe that was on me. I don't know. But I tried to get some of these regular bar gigs again because I thought exposure, hand out business cards, eventually shows.
People want to see you here. Yeah.
See and hear. The bar gigs didn't work out. So I rang every event company and every big company that I could find. Some of them couldn't speak with me directly because of the language, and some of them could. And I think I rang maybe 100 different companies, and I got 4 interviews, right? And that was not many. And from those interviews, 3 of them said, "We like what you do." I presented to them in the meeting, and I showed them a little bit of what I could do. They said, "We'd like to work with you. When we have events, we'll contact you." So that was a start. Yeah. And the very final meeting, I was supposed to have a meeting with the 2 CEOs of this event company. And when I arrived in the office, I got a message from the reception saying, "Oh, the CEOs are not going to be here. They're cancelling, but they'll send their personal assistant." And I thought, okay, what can I do? I'm here now. So I sat with her, showed her a little bit of what I do, had a bit of a discussion. And before I left, actually, the thought that came to me, it was an intuitive thought. I said to her, "Do you have an event coming up soon? I can come for an hour and just do a roaming performance, mingle with your guests. Mm-hmm. You get to see what I do. Then you have an idea of what you can sell to your future clients." Mm-hmm. She said, "Well, actually, Lucky, we're changing venues. We're having a big event for all of our past clients and our partners." And I said, "Great, I'll come there for an hour." She said, "How much is it?" I said, "I'll do it for free." So I arrived there, and I took a big pocket full of business cards, and any spare room I had, which didn't have a pack of cards in it, had business cards in it. So
I like it, actually. I like it. That's an initiative, yes.
Yes, and I did that. And I walked around, and I saw as 300 people there. I think I saw everybody that night. Instead of staying an hour, I stayed about 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, really just mingling. I don't know where the business card's going to land, and I have to give them out. This was all I could do. And what happened, I was very fortunate, the CEO happened to be there on that night. I stole his wife's watch. I took it from her hand while we were performing, and then I gave it back as a finale. Yeah. And this one man next to me, I did a mind read for him, which I may show you in a little bit if you're interested.
Yeah, of course.
I'll show you the exact thing, actually.
Yeah.
And he was blown away, and he said, "Give me your card, I want to call you." The CEO said, "He's a guy you should have the card of." And I didn't trust him because most people I called said, "Send me an email." They didn't call back to me.
Yes.
But anyway, I asked him for his card. He didn't have one. So I assumed that I'm not going to hear from him again. I've had that happen. He emailed me next morning. He said, "Look, I saw you last night. I liked you. I'd like to chat."
So it's all in Helsinki, in Finland, right?
This is in Helsinki. Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. So he contacted me.
Yeah.
I said, "I can be there in an hour.
Yeah.
I'll see you in an hour." I went to his office. He was an agent in Helsinki for a company called Ohjelmakauppa, which is a Finnish word, which means program store. It's a loose translation. Yeah. He was the agent for all of the top comedians and speakers in Finland. And when I got there, all of his office came out to greet me. They said, "You're Xavier. You're the guy he's been talking about since yesterday." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Well, he's seen a lot of magicians, he's seen a lot of performers, but he hasn't stopped talking about you since last night."
My God, that's a big dream, man, for you.
I
the guy thinks about you all night.
So,
please, man. First, continue.
It turned out. So I sat there, I did a little performance with him, and he said to me, "Look, I'd like you on my books. I'd like to give you gigs. I'd like you to be exclusive with us." And I said to him, "Look, I just got here. I don't know you very well, and thank you for the offer. But how about you give me the gigs first, and I'll decide later if it's worth me becoming exclusive to you. I'm still a freelancer, and I still want to figure out what Finland has to offer." Anyway, the pandemic came, took away all my gigs. And what he had created was a studio performance, like a talk show. And it was for the Finnish audience, and a very famous comedian there was on the show, and they asked me to come on and do a performance piece. We worked so well together. I did maybe 30, 40 shows with them studio shows,
yes.
performing to the camera. I've created my own online mentalism show, and I was performing from my house on a laptop. And the pandemic was the most fortunate time of my business. So
I'm happy for you.
big story. Thank you for
Why
listening.
didn't you give up? Why? So before we dig deeper into mentalism, why didn't you give up? I mean, you're in Helsinki, you're in Finland. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let's go make people, Lapland, North Pole guys.
Santa lives there.
Santa lives there. It's always white and cold, and sometimes they have some sunny days. But I think it is
One day a year.
one day.
Yeah. I think summer was on Tuesday last year.
Look, I was in Sweden when it was the first day of the summer, and it was like 10 degrees. And what they did, it was like everybody's walking in short sleeves. So I can imagine like four of us guys, we worked together in foreign intelligence, and we were walking there in Stockholm, searching for this person,
Yes.
right? And I thought, what's wrong with these people? So cold, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like so cold.
It's
and
hard work.
It's like,
Yeah.
so crazy. So for those who don't know, Finland, very cold. It's always white. It's it's a deep snow, and the Santa Claus lives there. But what the obstacles you faced was the people you never saw. You never work there. You never live there.
Yep.
And language.
Language is
And
the
yet-
second hardest language on earth.
Yeah, oh
Yeah, after Mandarin.
man.
Yeah.
The thing it is, you didn't give up.
Yeah.
Why you didn't give up? If you want to give now everybody advice, who are facing now the difficult choices in life, what will Xavier Crow tell them? You didn't give up, but tell them why they should not give up on their dreams, on their goals.
So the first thing that came to me was something that happened long before I came to Finland.
Yeah.
My father is a very successful and savvy businessman, and he works very hard, and he's always been that inspiration for me.
Yeah.
He's gone through ups and downs.
Yeah.
So sometimes he went really down, and things happened out of his control, and I saw him hit the bottom, but he never gave up. I think subconsciously that's there in my background. He never said it to me directly, but I think I followed his actions.
Yeah.
Secondary, when I was I think I was 22, and I finally decided to give up regular work and be full-time entertainer. I was struggling with the work, and my dad said to me, why don't you get a job to support your magic? And I remember saying, and I don't know where this came from, this is somewhere deep inside, I said, if I took a second job to support my magic, I've already failed as a magician. My intention is to become full-time entertainer. And through the years, after realizing how much I love it, I can't live without it. Every time I try to give it up, it flies back into my life. And when I was in Finland, the moment that all the gigs got cancelled at the pandemic, I sat down and I started reading everything I had on psychology, NLP, mentalism. I was like, I'll learn as much as I can in this time. And then at that point, I realized I couldn't give up. I have something that I want to share with the world, and I love what I do. And if I gave up, that would mean going back to doing something I don't want to do. And if I want to be the best person in the world for other people, I have to enjoy my life. I have to choose me. And if I'm doing the thing that I'm meant to do, I'll be better for the world.
Look, this is the first time I see you. I mean, we never met before in life. And that's like, it's very difficult for any man to impress me. I give that pride to myself because, I saw things and I lived the things and experienced the things most of humans will never do it. But when somebody comes with an open heart like yourself and say these things that you're never going to give up, because if you are, as you said to your father, if I take that job, that's mean I failed my magic in the first
Already,
place.
yeah.
What your father told you? What was his response to that statement you gave?
I think, his silence said more than his words at that point. And I think he really wanted to see me succeed. He still does, and there's been times since then, even recently, where I've just hit a low. I mean, coming to Australia wasn't easy either. I'm a foreigner now. I've been away for 9 years. Nobody knows
You
me.
still speak better English than me.
I still speak.
After 26 years, I'm still like.
Well, I can understand you. You're
That's a good
you're
one.
doing
Like,
fine.
look, the people who are watching the.
I have a little earpiece translating you right now.
I'm just worried about CIA Black Ops come pick you up, and then by mistake taking me as well with you.
Yeah.
Now, magic is an entertainment industry.
Yeah.
But then you move in Finland.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we can share this one, that was the reason was a woman.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Most of the foreigner men in Finland came because of a woman. This is an ongoing joke. And so every time someone asks me, why did you come to Finland? Yeah. They expect me to say for a woman, which is true, and everyone says it. Yeah. So I would say every time I was on Finnish broadcasting or any sort of interview, I would always say I came for the food and the weather. And they always thought it was funny because the food is very basic. It's winter food, and the weather sucks.
Look, maybe the Finland women get some benefits of the government to bring the men or something.
It could be the case. Something we don't know about. We might have to ask them.
Look, that's a good share, but it's like takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of perseverance.
Yeah.
To be in a country which is not yours.
Yeah. I
know, and I'm in Australia where everybody speaks English. Much more easier to learn, even if it's my fifth language, but I was still here, I met then the mother of my child, so it was all these things was sort of falling into places and I was still unhappy. But being in Finland, man, that would be difficult.
Probably some of the lowest points. Yeah. During the pandemic made it even harder. I was away from my family and I didn't know when I could come back. And I didn't want to come back with the chance that I could get also trapped here. So it was hard. I didn't know what to do. Can I ask you just a quick one on the COVID? Was the lockdowns in Finland equally harsh, like let's say? It wasn't. It wasn't. It was very relaxed. People are very good at following rules in Finland. So there's not a lot of pushback.
So you missed the fun in Victoria, Melbourne.
Exactly.
Did you saw this one?
Yeah, I saw that.
Man, that was
which is one of the reasons I didn't come back.
Nobody want to leave, And so let's go move now. So from entertainment, being magician, right?
Yes.
You name it. Few things you did. That's NLP courses. You done hypnosis.
Yes, psychology.
Psychology and all these things.
Self-study.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've done a few certifications here and there, and I like to learn my information very quickly and in a short period of time, and then play. So if I can do a 40-hour week of hypnosis, I'll do a 40-hour week instead of stretch it out over a year. Yeah. I'll do an intensive course and I'll go and see what happens. I
have a problem with you. Look at you in your eyes and I see my question in your eyes.
Yeah.
So coming out. So let's go talk now about being mentalist. So being from entertainer, that's a magician. Yep. They come with all these props with the hands and entertain people, love, don't love, but people are being entertained.
Yeah.
Being mentalist, it's something totally different.
Yeah.
There's no BS there.
There is a little, but the basis of it is in reality.
Yeah, because I saw the video. So I done my research quickly, right?
Yes.
So I was sitting at home and asked my son, I said, do you know something about mentalists? And he studied medicine. He's like, oh, dude, it's like, it's like, just leave me alone. So I go on to the holy grail of the knowledge, Dr. Google. I said, mentalist.
Yes.
First thing, it's a show.
Yes.
And then I start digging deeper into the videos and I see what these people do. There's no props, number one. There's no, magic hats, the handkerchiefs, whatever it is.
Yep.
It's you, pen and paper, maybe, and that's it.
Yep.
And these guys, I saw two of them, and I was like, come on, seriously, must be some setup.
Yes.
Why did you choose the field of being mentalist?
So as a magician, every magician I've met has done something that looks like mentalism in their act. But a lot of those things were magic tricks. Let's call them mental magic. There were tricks that looked like mentalism. Yeah. But in the back of my mind, I always thought, surely people can do this for real. There must be a way. And so I dived into anything that had to do with mentalism, any books. Reading body language was a very, very popular topic for me for many years. How to influence people. Surely there was an answer to this. And then I found that actually there are some incredible mentalists out there who have put their stuff down onto paper, who are using actual techniques to read or seemingly read minds. Sometimes I'm not reading a mind. Sometimes I am directing somebody, following the thought that I think they're having, and then telling them what they're thinking in that moment. Now to them, they forget the process. And I'm just telling them this last moment.
It's risky, man.
It's risky, yeah. And the thing I like about it is I could fail every time. Magic, I never failed. After a while, I never failed unless the prop broke. But with mentalism, I could almost fail every time.
Look, there's some questions here which we agree I'm going to ask you because I want to make a detailed questions about these things. But now you open Pandora box, something different.
Sure.
Mentalism. Let's go talk about hypnosis first.
Yeah.
What is a hypnosis?
Hypnosis is focused attention and plus suggestion, plus belief.
How this works?
If I can ask someone to follow my instructions and they willingly do it, okay, there's no forcing. If I can have someone willingly follow my instructions and I can set up anticipation and belief that something will happen, their mind will create that. So if I say, in a moment, I'm going to stick your hand to the table, you won't be able to move it. If I can encourage you to fully believe in that, your unconscious mind will start to have an anticipation for that, almost an excitement. And then eventually you'll feel like your hand is stuck. Now it's not stuck, but your unconscious mind and your body will create the illusion for you. So when people say someone's better at being hypnotized than others, there's only one hypnosis. You're hypnotized or you're not. There's no better or worse. There is just further concentration or higher susceptibility or belief.
You know, I'm asking this because it's going to be 2 years now. I stopped smoking.
Excellent.
Right? I think that's the best thing I ever done in my life. You know what I mean? Apart of getting my son. But the thing is, I was being suggested to go to that lady. She's a psychologist and she does this hypnosis. And I always say, like, I'm skeptical about these things, you know, when you don't see it, right?
Sure.
Something's woo-woo there. And, you know, I will go lie down on the floor. I say, why on the floor? You know what I mean? Like,
I can sit on a chair.
Then, yeah, she's like, and then, you know, the garden, the lift, the this and that, you know what I mean? And she says to me, you're ready. I was like, but I'm still smoking. She says, you're ready to stop smoking. I'm like, it took a couple of weeks' time, and I was with my son going in Europe. I said to him, it's time to show where I was grow up, you know, get my pension, you know, whatever I have there, you know, it's going your name, and this, and this, because I'll never return in Croatia, right? In Singapore, he says something very funny. He said, we are on a lift, and this lift is going to take you higher and higher. Daddy, you're going to stop smoking. I can feel it. I remember that session was the last session was about lift.
Feeling chills thinking about that.
Yes, you know what I mean? And I stopped smoking like this, literally. Like I never turned it back. I can't explain to you. Like, so it's 2 years now. It's going to be 7th of December we left.
Congratulations.
Yeah, exactly. And we on a lift, and I said to him, you know, because we shared the room, he was not happy. We have a king size bed. He's like, oh, I don't want to sleep with you. I was like,
there's plenty of room. It's king size.
No, but you know how the teenagers like,
of course,
I need a space for me.
Sleep with my dad in our bed. That's, I can't tell my friends, you know.
And I said before I spoke to you today, a few people, so like, I don't know what's happened that day with my son. He said to me that we are on a lift now, you know, and I think by the time we come up on the floor, you're going to stop smoking today.
Yes.
I went on a balcony because you can smoke in Singapore rooms, you know, and I said, fucking that smoke, man, just...
Yes. Yes.
And I never smoke again. So I believe in hypnosis. I believe that you can change people's thoughts.
Yeah, when I was living in Finland, in New Zealand, before Finland, I was doing magic shows, and I was getting a little bit of... I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
Every time I do magic for a certain time, I want to change it, which is anyway why I eventually did mentalism. But so at one point when I had this break, I was like, what can I do? And so I opened up a hypnotherapy practice to help people stop smoking. And I hired a room, I hired an office, and I just started to do it. And then you'll find... when your son said to you, when we get to the top of this lift and you'll stop smoking, he caught you in some moment, some unconscious moment, and it hit you deeper than a regular conversation if someone said to you, you should stop for your health. Yeah. I don't know exactly the moment. I would love to have been there to hear how he presented it.
I have recordings of my sessions with that lady. I mean, she's a psychologist, and she gave me all sessions. And when I come back, I said, like, you know what's happened? She says, no. I said, I stopped smoking. She says to me, oh, so what was the word? I said, what do you mean word? You know, I mean, this is not like a spy movie, like, you know, just code word, you know, I mean, like something. And I explained, she says to me, I want you to listen to our last session, because she told me after this session, you don't need to come anymore. And I remember it was a dark lift and open doors, you know.
Interesting. Thing. Okay, it was connected.
Yeah, like, and when Matteo told me, my son, his name is Matteo, we on the lift, and he says, by the time we reached top floor, he said, you're going to stop smoking.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
real dude.
Right, how? Yeah.
And I went in a balcony and never again.
And so this brings me to something that I've been trying to get my head around for a long time. When I was young and I learned that magic was a trick, I was really sad as a kid. Like, what do you mean? It's a fake hand or a fake packet of whatever. What do you mean magic is not real? And as a kid, it was shattered for me. Again, going back to why we don't tell the audience.
Yeah.
And as I grew older and I started to perform it, I was receiving a lot from the audience, which made me feel like they were experiencing real magic.
Yeah.
And then I started to look further into spirituality, and I realized there is something beyond us that we can't really explain that looks so much like real magic, we can't call it anything else. Now, you went to a hypnosis session, she spoke about a lift. Your son wasn't there, and he somehow, for some reason, said the right thing at the right time.
Yeah.
That's too coincidental to just let it go. In my mind, that's like magic.
And I was I was skeptical of these things, but that's like I wanted people, guys. I'm gonna put in comment section below Xavier details. Have a chat with Xavier. As I said, like the best thing I ever done, it was stop smoking, not because of the prices and all these things, but I was feeling sick.
Yep.
More and more and more. I become hypochondriac for some reason.
Yep.
And then this happened. Now let's go back to the mentalism.
Sure, let's go.
Those questions we discussed, you know what I mean? But it's like successful career in mentalism for you. What is it?
Being on stage in front of more and more people each time. I think my biggest audience is about 1,000 people. I want to sit on a stage in front of 5,000, 10,000 people if possible. Why not? And I think the reason I've started transitioning from mentalism into speaking is because I think the thing that I like to show people first, because it's one that I can express to them easily, is nonverbal communication, like body language and how to use the body in a conversation. When people are interacting with each other, they don't realize just how much their body is saying. And a lot of people think body language is about reading other people and trying to get them to change or to do something. But people don't realize your own body language is affecting how people perceive you. And so learning nonverbal communication, firstly, is the step towards being a better communicator. Understanding when I say something, what does that person's body do in response? Not only that, what is my body doing while I'm talking to somebody? If I'm talking to you like this, right? There's not much you can get from me. You know, if I'm leaning back, I mean, how interested I am in this conversation. I think you've noticed I've been forward the whole time. I never cross my hands. Yeah, If I cross my hands, I put them in a comfortable confidence position rather than closed or shut. I try to keep myself open. The other thing is, mentalism is also including things like tone of voice, pauses, volume. All of these things are important in conversation. Some people speak too quickly, too slowly. They don't pause enough. And so when I draw on all of these different topics from mentalism, I'm using nonverbal communication. I'm using my tone of voice and my language to influence people's thought processes. I'm implanting information, or I'm reading information, watching the body language. All of these things as a whole is deep, solid communication. And so depending on what I'm delivering, I'm focusing on a different area.
So in nutshell, let's just say organization which, let's just say somebody going to hire you, some organization, try to find the name, XYZ, right?
XYZ, yeah.
Okay, company, they can actually hire you to you share the skills and knowledge you learn over the years, experience about body language, which is going to actually translate into the better understanding on a market when they're negotiating deals, when they're talking the business with somebody.
Yeah.
It makes sense?
Yeah.
Right?
So the body language skills is one topic, and I learned that very deeply.
Yes.
And I use that a lot.
Yes.
The other one is tone of voice and communication techniques, including volume, etc. And then surprisingly, hypnosis, even though I don't do hypnotherapy anymore and I don't do stage hypnosis shows anymore, I still use hypnotic language when I speak. You know, and this goes down to saying something like, for example, if I want to get a yes from you, nobody likes feeling that the yes was forced from them. If
Correct,
I said,
yes.
Can I ask you a favor? Now I have to think, do I want to do this person a favor? What is it? Right? Like, I don't want to.
You know, I like it. That's so true. Like, you know,
That's so true.
Yeah.
But how about I said to you, how about I think about it like this? Instead of asking you for a yes, I'm asking you for a no. That sounds like this. Would it be a terrible idea if I asked you for a favor?
No.
That's a yes.
You trick me now.
Correct.
That's
correct. And this is how to use language patterns. So the body language is one, the tone of voice and all the communication tactics is one, and language patterns are another thing. How do you use language to get people to feel comfortable in your space? I do a lot of this stuff unconsciously now. For me to get on the stage and express this to people, I actually have to think about it because it's happening quite intuitively. But when I sit down, I break it down, like, how did I get this person to feel comfortable around me? What happened there?
Yes,
what did I say? How did I make them feel good? I don't make them say yes to something they don't understand. I get them to say no as many times as possible so they feel like they're in control.
I'm really grateful that you found time today to come to this podcast. Honestly, in a world we're living, and as I said, that podcast Life the Battlefield stands for exposing false gurus through human intelligence. And I'm seeing a lot of people on the market who are happily flopping around with ideas that can help other people based on something. But in reality, they are just good on theory.
Yeah.
Why, guys, I want you to talk to Xavier, it's very simple. I always say this in my podcast. If you can't demonstrate how to do it, you're not for the business. You're never going to talk to me. I'm never going to refer to you if you just talk a theory. Xavier can demonstrate not just theory, but how to do it. He's a hands-on deck. And that's the difference, guys, who you want to hire in your organization. So I'm going to put the comment section below Xavier details. Feel free, reach him, and give him opportunity to demonstrate to you for the benefits of your organization or yourself individual level. I want to ask you, what's the most remarkable lesson you learn about human behavior and in your line of work? I'm very curious.
The remarkable lesson I learned about human behavior.
And communication,
Actually, the answer is surprising. People from every country in every part of the world that I've visited are exactly the same. Take away the accent, take away the clothing, take away the life situation. You have the funny guy. You can always see who the funny guy is. You have,
I like it that way.
You have the serious guy.
Yes,
you have the scared person. You have the weak person. There are. I never used to like archetypes because I always thought it was too much of a box. But I was sitting on a kitchen floor in Thailand with a group of old and young men, just sitting in a circle conversing. I couldn't speak their language. They were only speaking in Thai. But I was just observing them and watching them. And I was like, that's the Joker. He's going to say something funny. And I was on point even so, when he said a joke, I started laughing. And everyone thought that I could speak Thai. I couldn't. I was observing. I could see his mannerisms. He was the funny guy. This was the older man who was generally the papa. And people look up to him. And I could see the way people talk to him. Now, that is apparent in every country, in every group. When I walk into a room, I go to especially doing magic shows for so many years, you go to a table of people and interrupt them. The first thing I have to figure out is who is the alpha, male or female? Who is the leader of that group? Make sure that I don't step on that person's toes. I'll use them in my act. I'll say, hey, you and I are going to do something incredible. No one's going to figure it out. Let's work together. And now I've got the leader on my side. If you can make the leader excited, the whole table loves it.
That's very interesting, yeah. Like, that's a very good point because it's like, you're absolutely right. The people around the globe, we're all same. We all had the sort of same, not attitude, but behavior, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's something we're always forgetting, you know what I mean? But what was the feeling sitting amongst Thai guys and not knowing language? Why would you sit with them? That's now out of curiosity.
It's a good question.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, why would you sit with them? Like, I don't know language, but still.
I met a young guy and he could speak a bit of English. And he said he wanted to introduce me to some friends. And he took me there and no one could speak English. But I just stayed with them. I stayed with them for maybe 5-6 hours. I went back a few nights in a row, just enjoying. I used to smoke back then. We were sitting, smoking cigarettes and just enjoying each other's company. And you know what? I don't know. I think I took it as a lesson. I was really, really enjoying just observing people. My body language skills, specifically nonverbal communication in body language, came from traveling, meeting people that don't speak my language. I had a conversation with an Italian guy one time, and he didn't speak any English, and we were laughing, high-fiving, and I couldn't believe it. I was like,
I tried to imagine, like, I mean, like, I spoke with an Italian guy. He doesn't know English. I don't know Italian, but we were laughing.
I sat with him for an hour and a half in the bar, and we were just drinking and laughing, and I don't even know what he said, but I could see what he said.
Yeah.
You can tell a person's got your best interest, and you can tell a person who doesn't.
Yeah.
We all have intuition. We really do. And everyone's an expert in body language, but they don't realize it.
That's a good question I have now for you. You guided me now to this one. I knew it. You say intuition because I was, I try to explain to my son, but he doesn't, he's not SpongeBob anymore. He doesn't absorb anything what I say. Like, 21 years old, 22 now.
It'll come back eventually.
Yeah, but he's like, I know everything, you know what I mean? Like, speaks to 7 chicks during the night and doesn't sleep, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Good on him.
I said, dude. But I said to him, we can listen, our logic or our emotions, but in reality, we need to listen our intuition. And that's what I learned in the army.
Yeah.
When I was particularly in war, we have all these classes, and you need to listen to intuition. If you hear a sound or barking of dogs or ducks, and I was always like, come on, seriously. And reality it is, intuition says something it's wrong.
Yes.
Never says something is good.
Yeah.
It's a warning sign.
Yep.
And the lady who told us those things, she said that we ignoring the signs given to us.
Yes.
And now you're saying this too. Okay, the question to have, like, any personal story of yours, you can share with us how mentalism apply for the benefits of other side, of the other person. Is there any personal story you can share with us that you utilized on somebody else to feel better, to do better, to perform more?
It's a combination of the mentalism tricks that I've learned and the hypnotic language I learned through NLP.
Yeah.
So what I learned very young was that I like to give advice to people and opinions, right? And I knew something was wrong because if I gave someone advice and they didn't take it, I got annoyed.
Yeah.
Which means it wasn't authentic. If my advice is free, I should have no expectation on the outcome. And so what I learned actually, and this sounds a bit too simple, most people with problems have no one to listen to them deeply.
I don't know, do you read my mind or something? But it's like, no, seriously, like, I'm serious now. Where's my tinfoil hat? I mean, like, I'm just saying this for last couple of weeks in conversation with a few people I know around me. And I said, like, the best thing happened to me is to listen to somebody because people want to be heard.
Yep.
And they want to be spoken. It's
Yep.
like a natural justice, which is real term in law practice, natural justice. And you say this one, that people want to be heard.
Yeah, it takes more practice to be a good listener than it does to be a good speaker.
Say again, it takes more practice.
It takes more practice to be a good listener than it does to be a good speaker. You can fake speaking, but real listening is an art form. Being able to listen to someone without any judgment, being able to give them space to fully express themselves without waiting to see what they're going to say next. If we're constantly trying to think of what to say while we're listening, we can't think of what to say and listen at the same time.
One of my classes with our Intelligence Academy was, that lady, she was a psychiatrist, and she will say to us, we need to listen to that other side and, their problems and anything else, more or less informants. And I said, like, oh, come on, we just want to, be 007s, all these things, right? It doesn't work that way. As you say, it's a lot of listening and engaging conversation, so these things. But she told us this once, if you're not sure how to respond to them and you don't pay attention, just repeat last 3 words of their statement. They were like, is this like, science fiction movie, like, we become the spies, right?
Yep.
So basically what she told us, like, if the guy says or woman says, I went in cinema last night, and you're like, you're not interested, it's like cinema, and they're going to fill the gap. I was watching, So that was a fun till I didn't start applying this on a women around me, you know what I mean? And they will be told you're a good listener. So like, I'm not a good listener.
I mean, tell you something. If you can do that, and I like that. I'm going to go into that. If you can
Please.
do that, seamlessly or naturally, like if someone says a sentence like, "I went to the shop," and you're like, "Shop," you have to say it almost like a question, like you're asking,
Yes.
like you want more, and it's a subtle shop. Like there is. I'm curious. They will just keep talking, and at the end of that conversation, they will give you all the credit for being an amazing conversationalist, and you can have an entire conversation without saying a word.
You see, that's a good one, conversationalist. That's a good one. You see, I will pay any money for your ticket to see you on stage.
Thank you.
Not Tony Robbins. You see, when I would see Tony Robbins, I always say like, Tony Robbins, he's a great guy, but after all, he's all hype, right? He's all hype. And I say like, one thing what I learned with the people who can say so many words per minute, it's there's no message there. It's all fluff, and people become, you know what I mean? And then
Carried away.
Carried away, and 3 days later it's just deflated. You know what I mean? Like
I've had that experience.
You know what I mean? So like that's not something I always love. This is the message you have. But how are you tailoring your mentalist performance, being mentalist on stage with a different audience? How are you tailoring? You know what I mean? Because we don't coming from same walks of the life or same language skills or something.
Yes.
How do you tailoring that message?
Matching and mirroring, right? So think about
translate this in English?
It sounds like everyone should know what that is. So matching and mirroring.
Oh, sorry, I don't know.
I'm doing it naturally. So let's say I go to my Finnish audience from Finland, right? They are very reserved people. They don't express on the outside. Everything's on the inside. I will have a show and the entire audience will be almost quiet the entire time. And someone will come up to me at the end of the show and say, "That was very good. Thank you very much," with a straight face. And I thought you hated me. Why didn't you clap while I was on the stage? Like I want this feedback instantly.
Yes.
And so what I realized was this: if I come out with too high energy to a quiet audience, they won't relate to me. And so I must transition through different kinds of relatability. I must come out. The first thing I do when I come out on the stage is I'm like, yes, keep the clap going for me. And I just bring it up. And then I take a breath. Welcome.
So you're commanding them.
I'm commanding them. I lift them up, I bring them down. And if they're not following me, it's okay. One of these different presentations of my character at any time is going to relate to someone in the audience. The quiet person is going to listen when I did the loud person is like, yeah, he's a loud guy. I'm going to listen. And so I'm going to transition through all of these different personality types in the first 10, 15 seconds so that most people in the audience, hopefully all, have seen me mirrored, seen themselves mirrored in me on stage. I'll come out big. I'll bring it back down. I'll come up again. I'll use big words. I'll use very small words. I'll make jokes. I'll be serious. And I'll make sure every person in the audience gets a chance to listen to me in their own language. And so I don't have to actually change too much to fit the audience. I create a complete complete communication style so that enough people in the audience will find the thing that they relate to the most.
How do you pick up somebody from audience for your mentalist show?
Sometimes I just throw a ball into the audience and whoever catches it comes up. And I tell you what, it's very risky. You don't know who's coming up, but I like this. I don't know what my audience member on stage is going to do, and I have to figure it out on the spot. It's made me a better entertainer.
Okay, so let's go say
some people choose specifically their audience.
I'm just very curious now because I was waiting for this moment. First of all, thank you for the last 90 minutes in studio.
Of course.
I need to have you more, but how do you perform that mentalist job? I'm very curious. Just for the audience, like little bit on me that, but if you dig deep into my brain, you're in trouble.
So would you like me to show you an example?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
So let's see if we can follow. I want you to think into the past. Think into the past of a holiday you went on.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you got something?
Yes.
All right, so the past is gone. The present, you're not on holiday right now, unless this feels a little bit like a holiday. We're having a good time. Now go, what month is this in December? Go next month. Are you going away next? Don't say where. If you're going away next month, just you are? Okay. So think about where you're going. Think about what's there, what you're doing over there. Think about if there's any people that you're going with. It could be a wife or a friend, or if there's a couple of people you're going with.
Can I say? Or?
Don't say anything. You got this? So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, and we see if we can get some of information from you, right? Now, I didn't ask for a definite yes, but when I said in the next couple of months you're going away, I think you said yes pretty quickly. Your head nodded very fast, which means you're probably going away sometime in January, all right? Does that make sense?
That's a good one. Okay. Yeah, okay.
Let's say you're going away in January. Think about whether it's the beginning, the middle, or the end of the year. So your shoulders went up when I said beginning of the year. This means you're probably going early, maybe 5th, 6th, 7th of January, 8th. You're getting close. Okay, 2nd, very early January. Okay, that's why this was so quick. All right, now, I want you to think of the environment. Now, I was talking about Finland. Finland's very cold. The environment you're going into, you gave me nothing there. It's probably warm there. I think it's probably a beach destination. If you're going on holiday in January. Yeah, okay. And now look, don't tell me where you're going.
Okay.
Don't say anything else, but just answer only this question. How many days are you going away? That's the only answer I want. How many days are you going away?
10.
10 days. You're not going to go anywhere very far for 10 days. I think you're going to stay close to Australia. So it's either Singapore, probably Bali, something like that.
That's enough fun. Done. Done.
My man.
Oh my God! Hey, look, I'm going with two friends of mine, right?
Yeah,
One of them is like, I'm going to introduce you, right? Yeah, we got the three of us. You know,
Amazing.
Oh, come on, seriously, man.
Fantastic. Wait, let me think of where you're going in Bali. So look, you've got think about the different. Actually, I'll tell you what. Think of the name. You're probably going to maybe more than one place, but think of like if there's a main place.
Seriously,
don't say anything. Yeah. You want me to guess this or not?
Two of them. Yeah.
2 places.
2 places. I making sure that you understand. Audience. I've never been to Bali, so I've been asked by 2 close friends of mine to go on a Bali with them. So I need to check on a map of where we're going, and it's 2 places. Yes.
Okay. Think of both of them. I'll see if I can pick one. Okay. All right. Let's say you go. No, one of them. I think you're thinking of something. There's 2 places that came to me instantly, but I think one of them you're not going to be there as long, or maybe it's not the focus. One of the places you're going to go to probably has like a double name. Yeah, like 2 words. Yeah.
Nusa Dua. Yeah, 3 days.
There it is.
I'm done. Let's go now dig deeper about Look, this is nothing scripted, you know what I mean? Like, I'll never say such a thing, you know what I mean? I usually never say where I'm going. I always say where I was when I come back in Australia,
okay.
Right? So it's a Nusa Dua is the first one. The second one is called Seminyak or something.
Seminyak.
Yeah, something like this, you know what I
Nice
mean?
one.
Like, I've never been there, you know what I mean?
Bali's amazing.
Yeah, like I just say, like, can I fly my drone? But because I want to do podcast, I'm going to do podcast, the episode about digital nomads and who are the people who you outsourcing and working with their laptops from the pool with your intellectual property. Because a lot of this theft is happening during these holidays. And, you know, a lot of people doing for you social media, whatever they are they actually in the pool, you know what I mean? You know, because I'm high, you know what I mean? And the data is missing.
Yes.
So those 2 guys, Paul and Mark, they said to me, "Oh my God, you're gonna do a podcast there? So you gonna be there with me?"
It's a great venue for a podcast, especially if I don't know if you're gonna do it in a studio, but there's a good, beautiful outdoor venues and also beautiful locations.
Yeah, so that's what I want to do because I was more interested. Can I fly my drone? I was like, "Oh my God!" Like everybody thinks about holiday, think about photography podcast. So that's what it is.
Great.
So before we wind up, right? Are you happy with your choice that you become mentalist?
Yeah.
I mean, you clearly guess it with me. I'm like, I don't say like I'm happy or angry, but that's like nobody could do this to me. So there's something, you know, but obviously body language and psychology, I think is.
It's a mixture of things. Yeah. I'm using all of the techniques I know, plus, I mean, look, not everything I do is straight down the line. You know, don't forget I have a history as a magician. So I'm using also technical skills as a magician to create illusions and to use the mixture of all of those. The entertainment aspect is one thing. And when I'm entertaining, I could be using reality, illusion, or a mixture of the both. When I'm when I'm presenting education, that's real. I never try to mix, and that's why I say mentalist, not magician. If I say magician, I don't think people would trust the education part.
Yes.
If I say mentalist, and I can give examples of it, even if I'm using some magic tricks as well as mixed with the reality, they still have a more likelihood to trust the education, which is actual facts.
Yeah.
I don't want them to sit in the chair thinking, everything he says is a trick, so everything he taught me is also a trick.
Look, I can say one thing. Nobody doesn't know where I'm going except my son.
And now everyone listening.
Now everybody listen. And it's going to be before the Christmas. You see, I have 2 holidays. You pick it up one holiday because on Christmas, usually traditionally I go with my son in Surface Paradise. But I wasn't even thinking about this one because I know by now, by default, me and him is going to be like, oh God, just go to your mother home,
Sharing a king bed.
Yeah, like, no, he has like his room, like, oh my God, so it's double expense. But second part, I'm looking for Bali because I've never been to Bali. I heard about Bali, but then I want to combine with what I'm doing right now and everything else.
It's amazing.
You pick up that one.
Perfect.
You understand? So you pick up that.
The little one.
Son,
yeah.
Just.
Yes.
But it is 10 days and, the affordability, it's very good, which I was surprised as well. The Bali is not that, crucial expensive. Anyway, a lot of people is going to listen now and want to be like you. Okay. I know you guys going to say, I can do better. Or I want to start being mentalist.
I hope they can.
Yeah.
I encourage people to do better.
What's your message on that?
This is my message for most people when I meet them and they have a passion or an interest. Find what you love and chase it no matter what comes. If you're chasing the money, and I've done this, it's short-lived or it's more stressful. But if I'm chasing the thing that I love, that's lifting me the whole time. If you really have a passion for something, keep pushing towards it. Don't let anyone tell you can't do it. Like I said when I was a kid, if I have to supplement my life in order to be a magician, I've already failed. I thought if I'm going to be a full-time entertainer, I have to be a full-time entertainer. And I kept chasing what I loved. I love doing it. I still read. Last night before bed, I was still reading mentalist books, still reading. I'm studying a new NLP course, which is old information, but I'm studying it again. I'm getting recertified because, it's been a while.
I truly believe that one thing I say, my full-time business, it's investigations. And we're doing a lot of claims in fraud, right? And as well to the people who are supposed to perform the task for my clients and corporations, everything else, when it comes to sales and marketing. Well, I truly believe it's a world needs you. And I say this why, because we're deciding either on emotions or some level of excitement or, good proposal, but the body language is very, very crucial. I'm getting every day last couple of days, I'm getting 50 phone calls from India, day and night. I don't know who they are. Then I'm getting all afternoon phone calls. You need solar panels. I'm not sure you're getting those ones. Do you need a hot water boiler or something like this? It's sad. But serious organizations will see the benefit in engaging you. Yeah. And I'll make sure that everybody knows that you can help people to perform better because you learn that craft. You're still learning. So I want to say, Xavier, thank you very much for being my guest today. I wish you a Merry Christmas. And it's I truly believe that message today, you give people hope. And more importantly, inspiration. Because you've been there hard yakka and you're still, grinding. And you're smiling. And for somebody who decided to come on 37 degrees in my studio,
in a jacket, no less.
Speaks the volume of a person.
Thank you.
And that is the ticket for success. Now, before we go, if somebody comes to you, just asking for the friend, right? And say, I want that girl to loves me. Can you do some magic words of this thing?
Yes, I can actually. If you want a tip, do you want a tip?
Yes.
It's a very simple tip.
Okay.
You must be outcome independent. If you are adding value to a person's life and you want nothing back, this is the best opportunity you have to be closer to that person. If I go to a girl and I want to get something from her number, her body, whatever it is, if I'm trying to get something, everything about my body language and my presentation is going to purvey that. We can't hide the unconscious signals. So if I and I do this myself, if I go to a woman that I seem attracted to, or if anyone, including a businessman, I have to go there adding value, not taking.
Adding value.
Add value every chance you get, and that will come back to you. And it may not come back if I'm adding value to, and this is going back to your question about women. If I'm adding value to a woman's life, she's more likely to spend more time with me because she feels value. Now, it doesn't mean do everything for a person. It just means add value. Be a good conversation. Say something funny. Teach her something. Give a lesson. But don't take anything. I don't go up thinking I'm going to get her number. No, I'm going to go up and add value and see if I interact with this person well. If we're interacting well, at that point, maybe I'll ask for a phone number. But first, it's add value. First step, add value every time.
Guys, I wish we have another couple hours. But
we'll come back. We'll do it again.
We'll come back again. So, Xavier, thank you very much for being my guest
pleasure,
today.
Mario. Thank you.
Guys, I'm going to put the XavierCrow.com. It's his website, but I'm going to put the comment section below in description as well. So you can contact Xavier and feel free to reach him, to learn, to be educated, and as well, above all, to be inspired. This man succeeded not in environment on his own, but environment which was totally opposite what he knew. Cold weather, shitty food, people don't express their emotions physically, then keeping inside. Am I right?
It's tough, man.
Tough, man. And it's snowing and a language which is
and dark.
Very, very dark.
Yeah.
Thank you, Xavier.
Thank you, Mario. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.